Hey, this is John Fernay, the co-host of the Maryland Crabs, and I am here today with a Maryland Crabcake for your listening pleasure. What's a crabcake? It's not quite a full episode, it's just a little snippet. Stay tuned and check it out. And make sure you check us out on themarylandcrabs.com. You can follow us on Twitter at MD Crabs Podcast, or find us on Facebook at the Maryland Crabs Podcast. And don't forget, subscribe, rate us, iTunes. Go there now.
How'd you like to ride along with the Budweiser Clydesdales? Well, here we go.
Here comes the king. Here comes the king. Here comes the big number one.
Here comes the king.
Budweiser beer, the king is second to none.
Budweiser beer, the king is coming. Let's hear the call. When you say Bud, you said it all. When you say Bud, you said it all.
Yeah.
Thanks for the ride, fellas.
Hello.
Well, hey, and we have on the phone Dave Thomas, not to be confused with the guy that owns Wendy's, I understand, correct?
That's right.
But you know what, Dave Thomas, you are associated with another icon, perhaps one of the most recognizable icons in the world today, the Budweiser Clydesdales.
That's correct.
That is so cool. We're all excited here in Annapolis. We've got the Budweiser Clydesdales that are going to be coming in for the Military Bowl on December 28th. The parade kicks off at 9:30 at City Dock and goes to the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. And then the Budweiser Clydesdales are making a return engagement on the 29th, and they'll be on West Street from 4 to 6 p.m., and they're going to have the street closed down. The team will be there, and you'll be able to get up close and personal with the Clydesdales and get some great pictures here in Annapolis. I wanted to talk to you about, pretty much about the horses, about your job, and really kind of about the whole Clydesdale story.
Absolutely.
Well, you told me that you were the supervisor for the East Coast team, and
That's right. Yeah.
And it kind of begs the question: how many teams are there?
Sure. Well, Budweiser has 3 traveling hitches that tour the country all year long. We have a team that we're with that's going to be coming to Annapolis. We're based out of Merrimack, New Hampshire. We cover the eastern third of the country. Our second team is based out of St. Louis, Missouri, and they cover the Midwest. And then we have a West Coast team that's based out of Fort Collins, Colorado, and they cover the whole western third of the country. Yeah, each team's going to travel quite a bit throughout the year. So each team will travel right around 300 days a year, and over those 300 days make up to 200 different appearances. So everybody's pretty busy.
All right, now how many horses make up a team? I mean, I'm hoping that all the horses are not, cooped up in trailers for 300 days.
No.
They get some time to run around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the trailer's just like their car for you and I. And at each different city we go to, they stay at either a horse farm or a fairgrounds, or sometimes we're in a tent in our own portable box stalls, and they get pasture time, little R&R. Each team will travel with 10 horses, and only 8 of them will pull the wagon at each time. So that gives every horse a chance to get a day off, just like we do during the week, so they have a little time to be a horse.
They're not unionized, are they?
No, not quite yet. Maybe next year.
Well, it's amazing. I've seen the Clydesdales, and Katzef Brothers, the local Budweiser distributor here in Annapolis, has worked to bring them here. This, I believe, is their 4th year here for the Military Bowl, and it's just fantastic how they draw so many people there. The size of the horses, just how majestic they really are. What's involved in keeping them like that?
It's actually quite a bit of work to keep them looking in show-ready condition. So a crew of handlers that'll travel with the team, there's 7 of us, and we'll spend about 5 hours getting ready for each appearance. So in that 5 hours, we'll groom the horses, we'll wash their legs to keep them looking white and immaculate. We'll polish all the harness before every show, and shortly before showtime, we'll braid their manes with red and white ribbon, the colors of Budweiser. Then we'll harness them up once once we're on location.
Well, that's neat. Now, do you have any teams that are international? I mean, Budweiser is not. I mean, it's an American brand, but it's not. It's a worldwide brand as well.
Oh, absolutely. The Clydesdales are mainly utilized here in the United States. They've made appearances elsewhere. Puerto Rico. We took some horses to China a few years ago when it was the year of the horse and did some promotions there. We also have a team of Clydesdales that are actually based out of Russia, and they'll make some appearances as well.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. How long have you been with Budweiser and with the team?
So I've been with the Clydesdales for 14 years now. So I've seen a little bit.
All right. Well, then that begs the question: what is your most memorable trip, parade, appearance?
Well, we get to do a lot of, I don't necessarily have one favorite. We get to do some pretty amazing things with these horses. We're pretty fortunate that we get to take horses places most people would dream of. I mean, I got to drive the horses for the opening of the Daytona 500. We've been to down Duval Street in Key West, a couple Super Bowls, some World Series events. So there's a lot of really cool stuff. Recently, we were in Times Square, downtown New York City area. So a lot of neat places we get to go.
Well, it's got to take a special personality for a horse to be able to deal with dealing in Annapolis with narrow streets, New York City with the big buildings and the traffic and everything else. And how do you become a Clydesdale? I mean, okay, first of all, you need to be a horse.
To get to be a Budweiser Clydesdale, there's a few things we look for. And first it starts, we want all our horses to be matched. So the first things we look for would be color. So we want them to all be bay in color, have a white forehead blaze, 4 white stocking feet, and black mane and tail. They also have to be a gelding and be 4 years old before they travel and stand 18 hands tall. So those are their basic requirements. And then after that, it gets into things like you were just talking about, how well do they deal in traffic and large crowd? Are they friendly, right? Because they meet a lot of people every single day. That's their job, to be nice and friendly and outgoing. So those are all important things we look for in our horses.
Have you ever had any accidents? Any horses biting, like the obnoxious little kid that keeps poking them in the back?
No. They're all really good. They go through an extensive trial period, so we make sure things like that don't happen. Yeah.
Well, it was funny you mentioned the colors about the bay and the White Sox and the blaze and everything else. Is that hard to find, or is that pretty much I don't know that much about Clydesdales, so or is that
sure that can be tricky to find, because Clydesdales come in in a couple different colors, bay and black being the two most common. Not every horse is born with 4 white legs. You'll have some that are born with, they might have 2 black legs or 4 black legs, or they might not have any white on their face. They might just have a plain brown face. So it takes some extensive searching if we're going to purchase a horse to find a horse that'll match. We also breed quite a few of our horses. We have a facility in Boonville, Missouri, and we'll breed probably average 20 mares a year to try to keep the operation going with some high quality horses.
So it's sort of like being trying out for the football team and missing the 50-yard dash by half a second because you got that
exactly
one round foot.
That's right, precisely.
Notably, these horses are known for the commercials in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, is this Hollywood, or are these really the real deal?
These are the real deal. When you watch those Super Bowl commercials, if you see the team of 8 horses pulling the wagon, that's one of the 3 traveling teams. That's actually the everyday horses you'll see, in Annapolis or other cities across the country. Most of the commercials are shot out west in the LA area, so most commercials feature our West Coast team. When you see horses doing tricks, maybe high-fiving the Dalmatian or pushing a wagon with their forehead or rearing up, those obviously required a lot of training. So we have a handful of horses that have been trained to perform those tasks, and only those horses do those scenes.
The Dalmatian, we talked about that. Now, the Dalmatian comes with every wagon,
right?
And what's the story between? I'm going to say, okay, the hitchman or the driver with the green jacket. The Dalmatian, and what's the history behind that? I mean, obviously the wagon is delivering cold, tasty Budweiser.
Right. So Dalmatians, it's kind of interesting. Dalmatians were originally bred to be coaching dogs, and they would run along the side of the wagon back in the the 1800s and protect the horses as they maneuvered through city streets. And when the drivers would go inside to deliver that cold, tasty Budweiser, they'd guard the load while the guys were gone. The black and white was actually a really important color trait. So at twilight, when your dog was out and about, it made it easier to see the white, so you wouldn't run your dog over.
Yeah, that would be bad.
But yeah, it'd be really bad if you ran your dog over. Everybody would feel pretty awful. So Budweiser started using the Dalmatian, came along with the Clydesdales in about the 50s. They started riding around full time with the hitches. They made their appearances.
Budweiser is an interesting company, okay? You are one of the largest companies in the world, I would venture to say. I don't look at the numbers.
Sure.
You have the potential to be just real jackasses like the cable companies or something like that, but you guys aren't. You're a really good corporate citizen for being such this big behemoth of a company.
Right.
Houston has a hurricane, and you stop your production and make water instead of beer. And that's happened time and time again. I remember the commercial that you produced in the wake of 9/11, where the hitch team came up into, I'm presuming, Secaucus, New Jersey or something like that, and sort of bowed down. It's refreshing to see a big company that has that type of a corporate citizenship attitude. And
absolutely.
And I mean, you guys are going out around. I mean, obviously, it's a draw for people. It's an advertising benefit for you to see the brand watching these hitches going up in the parades and at these different events. But I just want to hands off to Budweiser for being a good corporate citizen on this.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, we try pretty hard to give back to the community. Obviously, we've been a part of this country for a long time, and just like to do our part to give back when we can. And the horses have been around since the 30s. It's become this kind of sort of great American tradition where you'll see grandparents who grew up going to parades, watching the hitch come through their hometown, and you'll see them bring their grandchildren out to come meet the horses. A great feeling to be able to give back and showcase a little bit of Budweiser's pride and tradition that we've had here in the United States.
You work for Budweiser. You've been there for 14 years, you said, right?
Correct.
What's your favorite beer?
Budweiser.
Okay. Which? Okay. Budweiser makes a lot of beers. They got Bud Light, Bud Ice, Bud.
Sure.
Do you have a favorite one there?
Budweiser, the original.
Just the original, the red and white.
I love the red and white can. It's the original. It's what got everything started. It's got great taste, and I enjoy it.
That was almost a Miller Lite commercial there. Great taste, less filling. Wasn't that Miller Lite?
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah.
It didn't stick. All of a sudden, you're drinking an import. Just out of curiosity, what does Dave Thomas drink?
Stella.
Is Stella? Is that a Budweiser brand?
It is, yep. That's part of the Anheuser-Busch family brand.
Stella's doing great work with the water.org. And
yeah, they really are.
Buy a lady a drink. So I know you can go to the liquor stores or the beer liquor stores down here, and you can go to some bars and you can actually buy the chalice, which is made by people in countries that are really water deprived. And it's, again, another good community effort on the part of Budweiser. One last thing. Are you going to be here in Annapolis?
Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't miss it.
Okay. And you are the supervisor for the East Coast team, right? So you're like the top dog, right?
Right, yeah, just out east, yeah, I'm the top dog with the East Coast team.
Okay, well, this is perfect. Okay, now, as luck or whatever would have it, December 28th is my birthday, and I'd really like to ride on that horse. I'd like to ride on that wagon. Can we make this happen? And we'll put you on the spot here.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Come on out and see us right before the parade starts, and we'll see if we can...
maybe get a photo op. I don't know.
Yeah, but we'll see what we can do just because it's your birthday.
Well, I know last year our Speaker of our House of Delegates, Mike Bush, was able to ride on the wagon with the parade just because he was a former Temple grad that Temple was playing. But this year we've got Navy versus University of Virginia at the Military Bowl, which is going to be on the 28th of December. And the game time is at 1:30, but the parade and the Clydesdales kick off at City Dock at 9:30 a.m. And you want to get down there early because it's really fascinating to watch you guys unload these horses from their trailers. And the trailers are not really trailers. I mean, they're like horse condos. Let's face it. It's like the Airstream of horse trailers that they go. And they will unload them. They will hitch them. You'll have a chance to see the horses up front. I guess, the team members will be there, including the guy that runs behind them with the little golf cart and the shovel.
Yeah.
Is that the entry level on the team?
Actually, no. Everybody does everything. So the most senior guy might pick up poop one day and might be driving the wagon through the parade the next day. So it's really a team effort.
Hey, you know what I heard? I just heard today. I had lunch with somebody that was with our Annapolis City Hall, and I understand that our newly elected mayor, Gavin Buckley, is going to be shoveling after the Clydesdales at the parade.
Well, it's okay. That's just as much of an honor as riding on top sometimes.
Okay, I'll let him take care of that. I'll take riding on the top. But and so definitely get out. David, I want to thank you very much for all of your time. I look forward to meeting you on the 28th, as well as seeing you again on Friday the 29th, when they are going to be on West Street for 2 hours. And what can we expect? Can we get how up close and personal can we get with these horses?
Sure. I mean, we'll invite everybody to come up and take pictures with them. Unfortunately, once they're hitched to the wagon, when they're all hitched up, we don't allow people to pet them, just out of safety concerns for people and the horses. But you'll be able to stand right up and next to them and get a great picture.
That's amazing. And I know that when you come in a couple days early for this. I know there's going to be there was a special contest that CATSEF was running to have a one-on-one with the horses down at the Prince George County Equestrian Center, which is where you guys are going to be. That's your hotel for a couple nights, I think.
Yep.
And I believe after the 29th, there are a few events in Washington, D.C. where you're going as well. So there are ample opportunities to see the Budweiser Clydesdales coming up toward the end of the year before 2018 rolls in. And again, Dave Thomas, who is the senior East Coast supervisor for the East Coast team, I thank you very much for your time. And we look forward to seeing you guys here in about a week.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to the military bull parade once again. So we'll hope to see everybody out at the parade and on West Street.
Fantastic. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
This has been the Maryland Crabs podcast with Tim Hamilton and John Fernay. Sure to follow them at all the regular places, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and online at themarylandcrabs.com. Take a moment to rate us on iTunes. Now, get the hell out of my kitchen. Seriously, go!
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.